Hello and welcome. I hope everyone's doing well. As you may have seen from the previous video, the man who kept dying is trying to die again. Well, not quite this time, but still. It made me think that perhaps I should rename the title of my book, and instead of calling it The Man Who Kept Dying and Bring Bad Luck, so to speak, to myself, I should just call it The Man Who Had Met Death several times. It's a bit of a mouthful and a long title, but perhaps a bit more fitting, and in any case, closer to, for example, the French version of the novel. And by the way, I have translated the novel in French, so it's coming. I just did not have the time nor the desire, for reasons mentioned in the previous video, to really carry on with that project recently. All that is left to do is for me to do one last pass on the French version before I send it to an editor for proofreading and copywriting and making sure it's okay. And then we'll see where that takes us. Anyway, the subject of this video is something that I would like to share that has happened to me, not recently, but earlier in the year and sometimes in the past. What happens when you really are in a situation where you feel like you want to give up on life and you don't really have a desire to carry on? And yes, there may be several reasons behind that, but also share with you why, in my opinion and in my own experience, as long as you wake up in the morning, it's because you've got something to do, and there's a reason why you do. And also, to finish the video, I will share with you a little trick I have that really helps in most of the time. So, to start with, I appreciate this can be quite a serious topic, but the idea for me is just to share, and that's the continuity of the different videos. I have a couple more to do from what I've noted down about, sharing all the personal development that has happened to me this year and what I've really gathered about life. And I remember specifically one evening, after having had an argument, in my separation with my partner, thinking like, this is just too much. I've got no desire to carry on with all that. It seems like I'm making all the efforts, nothing's ever working fine. I don't understand life. I don't understand the rules of the game. I'm just so tired. I can't see any other day on this planet. I'm just, like, I give up. And this is, in my opinion, something perfectly normal to go through. And you can go through it from an emotional standpoint or from a physical standpoint. Unfortunately, in my life, I've experienced both. In my own experience, the physical pain is a lot harder to endure than the emotional one. But I'm not dismissing or diminishing any of you that is watching this video and that is going through some emotional or psychological pain. I'm just sharing my own experience, and from my own experience, this is what I've derived. Again, everyone goes through their own experiences in their own way. Physically, back in 2018, when I was in a lot of pain for more than 3 days in a row, I've learned that you can die from pain because the physical body cannot sustain a high level of pain. And the level of pain I was going through at the time was a 10 out of 10. And this is what happened to me. I died in January 2018, very temporarily, and that led me to the near-death experience and the writing of the novel and so on. However, emotional pain sometimes can be as painful. And the physical pain, I remember at the time also repeatedly saying, I'm dying, I feel like I'm dying. So there literally was that element of a very specific situation. You can have like a really strong physical pain that prevents you from sleeping, that prevents you from feeling good, that prevents you from living your life. That happens too. And that is extremely detrimental to your mental health. I'm no mental health expert, so please don't take this video as me giving you advice, I'm just sharing my own experience. The emotional health too, when you go through something really dark, can be quite difficult, and conversely can take its toll on your body at a later stage. So it really is about balancing those sort of pain messages we have. And the example I want to share with you was that evening after that argument. I really remember having kind of a meditative moment and thinking, that's it, I'm done. I'm talking to my guides, I'm saying, I don't want to wake up in the morning. Like literally, I don't care anymore about life. I'm tired, I don't find a solution to it. Don't wake me up. Literally, I'm going to bed, falling asleep, and I will not wake up in that bed again. I'll be elsewhere. I remember looking at my cat, who was alive at the time, saying, I may not be there in the morning, I've made my decision, fuck off this life. Of course, the cat looked back at me, human, you've just completely lost it. You'll be there in the morning. And of course, I woke up in the morning. But what happened that night was really interesting, because I had like kind of a very long and continued dream. And I mean that in the sense that, of course, it was an analogy, but it's like I was digging a hole in the ground. And I was going to the depth, perhaps, of my own emotional pain. And I spent the night at the bottom of what was kind of like a pit. And it was all dark, all night. And I remember all night during my dream I was sitting at the bottom of that pit, doing nothing, just waiting in a way for life to end. And as the morning came, and the light of the morning came into the room and so on, something really strange happened, and something really beautiful at the same time. The ground started to push me back up, very slowly, and there was nothing I could do about it. Like it became like really fresh ground, like when you pot a new plant, and it was going up and lifting me, up until the moment when I reached the surface of the hole I had dug. And I see myself standing, smiling, saying whatever, and walking away. When I woke up in the morning, I was like, what the heck was that dream? Like, I'm not happy. I demanded that I go, and I still wake up. What the heck is that? But this was one of the biggest lessons I've learned this year. Simply is, as long as you wake up in the morning, it's because you've got something to do. Or you've got someone to be. But your job is not finished. Your soul says, I'm sorry, we carry on, we still have more to experience. You may disagree, human, but as your soul, I'm going to tell you, we do. And ever since that realization, I've really taken life this way. In the sense that as long as I wake up in the morning, it means I've got a purpose in life. I may not know what that purpose is at the minute, or at the moment I'm asking myself the question, but I do have a purpose. Therefore, I'm going to carry on. And who knows what the day will bring. Maybe a grand purpose, maybe a small purpose, maybe just appreciating life. And it's quite an important point to me, because even that brought me back to times when I was younger, when I was, again, not feeling well at times and thinking, what's the purpose of life? What's this? What's that? Well, it made me stop questioning the purpose of life and just starting to live life a bit more. Not to the fullest. I'll point you back to the previous video in which I'm explaining why. But just realizing that, okay, as long as I wake up in the morning, I'm fine. And talking about the previous video and my recent health diagnosis, it's the exact same thing. As long as I wake up in the morning, it means I'm fine. So I've got no reason to worry about it. It's just like a phase in my journey that I'm going to go through. Happy days, I'm going to take it as best as I possibly can. And to me, that's quite important. If you are going through a phase, a bit of a dark phase in life, they do happen. It's normal. We all have them. My encouragement would be, at least based on my personal experience, and for what it's worth, you may find something that works better for you. And if that's the case, don't hesitate to share it. I'm not imposing my thoughts in any case or in any shape or form. But that idea that, yeah, as long as you wake up in the morning, no matter how painful it is at time, well, you've got a purpose. And there's a reason why you're here. And it may be as simple as because you're going to, say something nice to someone. You're going to be helping someone. That's going to make a difference to their day. People need you. You may not realize, but they do. There are so many reasons why it's important that you're here, and therefore you still wake up in the morning. And in those difficult moments also of physical or emotional pain, I've found a little trick that does the job for me. And that trick is I send everything back to God or to Source or to the universe, however you want to label it. And the way I do it is I've tried to be more, not persistent, but regular about this recently, is to, at the end of the day, empty myself of the energies of the day. It's an advice I received. So I go through mentally everything that happened through the day, good, bad, neutral, and I send it back to Source. And when I wake up in the morning, that allows me to be clear of the energies of the day before and go through that new day. One example recently is I had to, for the treatment in relation to the disease I have, is to get a little device implanted just under my chest. So I've got a scar here, and because they couldn't do it directly, I need another scar here. You can see I still have plaster at the base of the neck, which is one of the most painful things ever, because the few hours that followed that surgery, A, I had no idea that it would happen. B, when that happens, you cannot smile, you cannot swallow, you cannot chew, you cannot turn your head without it being incredibly painful. Pain that makes you wince and makes you scream, because it's really, really difficult. It didn't last too long, but I remember being in bed that evening and really, really almost screaming in pain and thinking like, why am I going through all that again? And at one point stopping and saying, all right, Source, God, the universe, you want to experience yourself through each and every one of us. We are all gods, and we are all God. So if that's the experience you want, happy days, have it. Me, I just want to rest. I need a good night's sleep. I surrender and I give the pain, the physical pain, back to you. Well, believe it or not, it did work. I had a good night's sleep. When I woke up in the morning, it was still very sore and still painful, but not as much as it was in the evening or during the evening before. So this little exercise sometimes is just to relieve yourself of the tension, relieve yourself of the emotional load, the physical load and everything. I'm not saying it's instant, but for me, it does the trick most of the time. At least it helps to alleviate that degree of pain and, in a way, give it back to the Source. After all, the Source wants to experience itself through us, through many different life forms. It might as well. So be generous. Give it all. Give all your experience back to Source and leave it conscious. That's all I wanted to say for this video. I'm realizing it's a bit longer than I expected it to be. As usual, I end up being quite a bit chatty. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're having a great time wherever you are on this planet, and that you're keeping a positive mind and positive attitude no matter what happens. In any case, I'm sending you lots of love, and I say until the next video. And yes, I want to stop some habits, so I'm not going to say until next time, be conscious, my friends. I'm just going to say until next time. Period. See you soon.